Book 363. Good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Morning Motivation with Matthew Daniels, and today I'm going to tell you guys about the origins of the Great Red Spot of Jupiter. That's right, the origins of the Great Red Spot of Jupiter. But what is Matthew Daniels talking about? A long time ago, a young man was looking through his telescope and he was becoming more and more intrigued with the Great Red Spot on the planet we call Jupiter today. This young man, who was one of my ancestors no less, had become so enamored with it that he went to his father, the greatest astronomer in the land, and he asked him from where did the Great Red Spot originate. His father told him that a long time ago, the planet known as Jupiter was teeming with life. It was not the uninhabitable gas giant that it is today. The species that ruled Jupiter was similar to the species known as the octopus on Earth. They were creatures with 8 tentacles, boneless bodies, several brains, and multiple hearts. In fact, many of the ancient sages claimed that the octopus on Earth are refugees from Jupiter because they are so similar. The atmosphere on Jupiter made it easier for this species called octurnals to maneuver about on land, and the air itself was so saturated with hydrogen and oxygen that they could breathe the air as if they were breathing underwater. These octurnals were cold and emotionless beings, and over the millions of years on their planet, they used their intelligence to enslave all other life forms and use them to make their own lives easier. When the octurnals developed to the point in which they could look out into the stars, they imagined, much like humans, that there was life as well as valuable resources on the other planets in our solar system. So, they devised ways to reach these other planets and exploit them in the same way they exploited their home planet. From their studies, however, they could tell that it would be difficult for them to survive and operate on the other planets because their atmospheres were so different than Jupiter's. So, they began building a weapon that would modify the atmosphere of a planet they wanted to exploit and change it to an atmosphere more suited to their body's composition. It took them several generations, but eventually they developed a bomb that would create a perpetual storm, which, once released on a planet, this storm would produce a chain reaction in the atmosphere that would modify it in their favor. The octurnals first set their sights on Saturn, and wasting no time, they hooked this bomb up to a rocket, and they launched it from the surface of Jupiter with intentions of it reaching Saturn in a few years. As the rocket rose in altitude, something went wrong with the internal components of the bomb itself, and before it even left the atmosphere of Jupiter, it malfunctioned and detonated in the sky. The octurnals watched in horror as a great storm erupted in the sky, and this storm began changing the very atmosphere of Jupiter itself. Several high-ranking octurnals, expecting that things might possibly go wrong, climbed inside of escape pods, and they fled to Jupiter's moon that we call Europa, and they created a new society beneath the waters found within it. Others, it is said, set a course for planet Earth, and they set up their new home beneath the oceans. Everything else on Jupiter died a slow death as the atmosphere became impossible to live in. And since no one was left alive, no one could make the storm stop. And so, the storm raged on, and the atmosphere of Jupiter remained deadly until this very day. And this storm is what is known today as the Great Red Spot of Jupiter. And so, the morning motivation of today is the origins of the Great Red Spot of Jupiter. Beware of giving in to the evil within your heart, and be cautious of plotting on taking advantage of others. Quite often, those who lay in wait to shed innocent blood become the victims of their own wicked designs. Today, you may be thinking that the best way to improve your life is by doing wrong unto others, but I implore you to rethink this course of action. Instead, be righteous in your endeavors. Be upright in your dealings with others. Do not plan and plot on harming others, and always strive to do that which is good. And remember, you are awesome, you are amazing, you are wonderful, and you are great. And you are going to change the world. I just hope I'm still alive to see it, family. I'm out. Good morning. To order books in the Morning Motivation with Matthew Daniels book series, search Morning Motivation with Matthew Daniels on Amazon.com or visit www.dandyandbigherm.com.